Hi, and welcome to Mrs. PM Reads. Remember, I lost my J when we traveled down to a new location, but we are continuing in Zoo by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. We will be still in book 4 and starting on chapter 71. In our last video, a bunch of scientists got together and hashed out that they think, I want to get this right, they think that the animal aggression is being caused by pollution from hydrocarbons and electromagnetic radiation from cell phones, resulting in critical biosphere meltdown. And then we moved to India and devastating fatal attacks by leopards. And that's where we stopped, and we are in chapter 71. I had a dream that night. I dreamed of a circle of ants. They chased each other in a spiral, a squirming black whirlpool, turning around and around, each one blindly chasing the pheromone trail of the ant in front of him, a closed circle, a snake biting its tail, a symbol of futility. Locked in their loop, the ants ran around and around in circles, desperate, stupid, doomed. I didn't know what time it was when I woke in the dark to the sound of what sounded like the world ending. There was an alarm going. Sorry. It sounded as though I were on a submarine that had just been torpedoed. I clawed at the sheets and scrambled to sit up. Smoke detector, I thought. Some kind of military alarm? Then I saw a light pulsing on the bedside table and realized the sound was coming from my iPhone. I vaguely remembered Eli playing with it the day before. The 3-year-old kid knew more about that stupid thing than I did. I snatched it off the table and shut it off. Kid had set it to some crazy DEFCON 3 ringtone, which was actually funny in a morbid way. Under the present quasi-apocalyptic circumstances, my heart started beating again, and I almost laughed. Then I answered it. Mr. Oz, sorry to bother you at this hour, Lieutenant Durkin said. I have a message for you from Mr. Leahy of the NSA. A high-level meeting is scheduled at the White House this morning. The president will be there, as well as the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Mr. Leahy has requested that you be there in person to present the new theory you and the other scientists have developed. I wiped sleep gunk out of my eyes. What? Another meeting? Oh, okay, I guess, I said, clicking on the bedside lamp. My brain was still woozy. Your wife and son are free to come with you, but since travel is becoming dangerous, it might be safer to leave them here in the secure zone. We can have you back up here by dinner. That's fine, Lieutenant. When am I leaving? I said. Your flight out of Teterboro will be ready to go in about an hour. Can you be ready in, say, 20 minutes? 20 minutes, I thought, inwardly groaning. The meeting last night had gone on until well past midnight. It felt like I'd gotten about 20 minutes of sleep. Of course, I'll meet you in the lobby, I said. After I hung up, I immediately called Leahy. Why the face-to-face, Leahy? Why don't we just teleconference? It's complicated, Mr. Oz, Leahy said. I know it's a pain in the ass, but I really need you here. You're a persuasive speaker. I blinked. What was Leahy talking about? Persuasive, I said. What does the president need to be persuaded about? I'll tell you when you get here, Leahy said. I smelled fish. For some reason, the needle on my BS detector was jittering. The last thing I wanted to do with the world falling apart was leave my family, but it looked like I didn't have much choice. Fine. See you later, I said. One of Chloe's eyes peeled open as I was coming out of the shower. The president and the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the White House are having a meeting, I said. They want my input, face to face, in D.C. Back to D.C. again, Chloe said, opening her other eye and sitting up. But you can't. It's too dangerous. Can't they? I don't know. You Skype or something? That would make sense. This is the federal government we're talking about. Sounds like they need some convincing on the pheromone angle. Until they're on board, we won't be able to make progress on tackling this insanity. Besides, I'll have a military escort the whole way. They said I'll be back before dinner. I was heading for the front door of our lavish, government-assigned apartment when Eli poked his head out of the room we put him in. Hey, kiddo, I said, kneeling down next to him. Did you change my ringtone? Maybe, he said. I messed his hair and gave him a hug. Listen, Monsieur Maybe, I'm going to Washington. I need you to stay here and take care of Mommy for me until I get back tonight. No, Daddy, Eli said, his face crumpling. I stood up. He hugged my leg. I can't take care of Mommy. Don't go. You have to stay here. I don't want you to go. By the time Chloe helped pry him off me, I felt like crying too. Shutting that door was the hardest thing I'd done any time lately. I met Lieutenant Durkin in the lobby and we proceeded outside. Alongside the sandbagged gate strung up across Fifth Avenue, soldiers and cops were drinking coffee in amphora cups beside a convoy of up-armored Hummers and police cars. The row of engines idled, quietly panting exhaust into the brisk white streams of the headlights. Are any of the other scientists coming with us? I said, as Lieutenant Durkin and I climbed into one of the Hummers. My orders were just you, but if you want to bring us some of the others, I can check. I waved off the idea. I was slightly surprised, but I actually liked it better that I was the only one they'd asked for. We rolled through half a dozen checkpoints on the way out to Teterboro. As we were coming up the ramp for the George Washington Bridge, I noticed a black column of smoke rising in the distance above the South Bronx. Lieutenant Durkin looked at the smoke and then back at me. There have been problems with the evacs, he said, looking away. Some looting and such. We're trying to keep a lid on it. Chapter 72. When we arrived at Teterboro, Lieutenant Durkin drove us through a gate in a chain-link fence right onto the tarmac. Off to the right, beyond the doors of a nearby hangar, a sleek, cream-colored business jet began slowly taxiing towards us, its wing lights blinking. I couldn't help but notice that it was the top-of-the-line Gulfstream G650, a luxury craft that can hop the Atlantic and reach speeds near Mach 1. If they thought they could impress me by rolling out a G650 to take me down to D.C., they succeeded. Then I had another thought. All this for me? What's up with the sudden VIP treatment? This definitely didn't seem like your standard government travel itinerary. Was I being buttered up for some reason? What the hell was this meeting about? Lieutenant Durkin stayed behind on the tarmac. Another military guy waved me toward the air stair, and I boarded the plane with nothing but the suit on my back. The Gulf Stream had flat screen displays over mirror polished teak desks and leather executive chairs you could sink into as though they were pudding. The interior was furnished in the manner of somebody's corner office, I thought, as I chose one of its 8 empty seats and sat in it. A corner office that flew at 51,000 feet and more than 700 miles an hour. Now that I had I'm distracted by some of the things I'm seeing out the window. Not that I had much time to enjoy it. The flight attendant handed me a cup of coffee before we took off, and I was still sipping it when the Gulfstream's wheels skidded with 2 soft shrieks against the tarmac at Reagan National, an amazing 25 minutes later. The jet's engines whirred down as we taxied. I looked out the window. There was something strange about the airport. There were jumbo jets parked along the terminals, but they weren't moving. No other planes were on the tarmac. Nothing was taking off or landing. It looked as if the airport were closed. It was 8 in the morning on a Tuesday. When we approached the terminal, I saw that there was some activity here after all. Lined in 2 vast rows were dozens of military aircraft, Harriers, Warthogs. Marines were scampering around, loading and unloading tandem rotor Chinook helicopters. I slowly realized the airport had been commandeered by the military. Chapter 73. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize as I felt the plane jerk to a halt. I answered as the flight attendant unclipped a bracket and the door yawned open with a happy hum. Mr. Oz, it's Dr. Valery. I have the test results. Dr. Mark Valery was a biochemist at NYU, whom I had asked to do a chemical analysis on the muck on my clothes. What did you find? I said. Your pheromone theory seems spot on, Valery said. Your clothes were saturated with a chemically unique hydrocarbon similar to dodecyl acetate, a common ant pheromone. I say similar because it's like it, but it isn't quite the same. This stuff has properties we've never seen before. What do you mean? I said. The carbon chains are strange, very strange. The substance has extremely high molecular weight. Unlike dodecyl acetate, this stuff seems to dissolve quite slowly, which might help explain its unusually strong effect on larger animals. But that ain't all, it turns out. The animals aren't the only ones who seem to be secreting a pheromone. So are we. What are you talking about? Long story short, a human being's scent is very complex, Dr. Valery said. We secrete materials from several different types of glands. There's regular sweat secreted by the eccrine glands, and then there's sweat from apocrine glands in the hairier parts of our bodies. Then there's sebum, the substance that contains our smell, I said. Right. Sebum is the stuff that bloodhounds home in on when tracking an individual person. Our olfactory fingerprint. The fragrance industry has been doing sebum experiments for years. I used to help run some of them. The thing about sebum is, like pheromones, it's chock full of hydrocarbons. That's why After hearing about your breakthrough, I decided to test some skin swabs from humans. I used myself and some other lab workers as subjects. What did you find? I said. It turns out our sebum is chemically different from some samples I found in a similar study that was done back in 1994. I don't know if it's in the air, our diet, seepage from plastics, or what, but initial tests seem to indicate that our sebum has a new compound in it with pentanol, not fentanyl, pentanol and methyl butanoate. Oh gosh, all these science words. Not only that, but this new compound's chemical structure seems to resemble several insect attack pheromones. I stared at the floor of the plane, trying to piece together what I was being told. So you're saying the animals are attacking because of our smell? I said. It's not just them, it's us. Think about it, Mr. Oz, said Valery. The olfactory system is most mammals, is incredibly strong. A dog's sense of smell is about 100,000 times more powerful than a human's. The power of olfaction is primal. And it seems the critters don't like what they're smelling. Interesting. And we're going to stop there. A new twist of events. Well, the question still remains, I think. Is it environmental or, just having evolved, so to speak, or is somebody putting it out there? And what are they going to do about it? All right, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.